glad to see you. It's indeed an honor and privilege to have you here despite your busy schedules. This is indeed a very important occasion. Um, Having today the launching of the first newsletter of OSPG. Before I go further, I would like to introduce myself and the high table. Should we pray first? Yeah. Oh, we do the prayers as tradition demands first before we go into the programs. So shall we pray in our individual ways? May Allah answer to our prayers. Um, as I said, it's a pleasure having you here. It is going to be just a short program, probably 30, 45 minutes program, because it's a launching of a very important newsletter, as I said, initiated by the Open Society Platform, the Gambia, and in partnership with National Democratic Institute, NDI. First, my name is Mohamed Ba. I'm a journalist and the president of the Gambia Press Union. And I have Mr. Alaji Tune from the Ministry of Information over there, a partner to the OSPG. And then Mr. Juma K. Kamara, Office of the Ombudsman. And we have Madam Lala Toure from the National Democratic Institute, representing the institution. And our able Mr. Abdullah Jadama, my brother. All these days we were discussing around the newsletter. It was a bit tense because it was first of its kind. I believe that it's a great initiative as well, and it's a learning curve. Thank you, Mr. Jadama. So basically, I would not say much. I'll be the one chairing this occasion. But however, I want to give a brief background about this initiative so that you can have a clear picture. As I said, this is a newsletter initiated by Open Society Platform, the Gambia, a very robust anti-corruption advocacy institution and transparency as well. I think some of you, this is not the first time you're having interaction with the Open Society Platform, the Gambia. What happened is we did a review of the newspapers, not only newspapers, but media platforms who published corruption issues around corruption, issues around transparency, issues around accountability in this country. From the period from November to December. And it was a very interesting exercise, myself and Flex Dan. I know probably Jadamo will also dilate on that. So we did that newspaper review on these thematic areas, the anti-corruption, that is corruption itself, what are the publications on corruption during the period under review, what are the publications on transparency, what happened in the country, and what are some of the things that happened on the accountability. I think this will help us to give an overview of what is happening around that, around those issues, because we believe that these issues are underreported in the country. Even if they are reported, probably people will just forget about them. So it is important to have a newsletter which will not just stop on around publication, but also making sure that government is aware of what is going on around these thematic areas, and then further steps are taken. It will help civil society to broaden the horizon of civil society around this thematic area, and then also make sure trigger some actions, because we know absolutely that very few will read the newspapers. Very few will read the news and digest it and then take further action. So we want to make these things realities, like not just publication of news. I know journalists are doing very, very important, they're playing very important role in bringing these things to light, like what is happening at the National Assembly, the Petition Commission Committee, the FPAC, the corruption scandals, among other things. So Mr. Jadama and Madam Lala will be having delivering a statement. However, I would want to give Lala Toure to give us a brief welcoming statement and tell us briefly, as partners, very important partners, because they are the ones who are funding this initiative. And I would like to thank the NDI on behalf of the Gambia, I can say, for supporting such kind of a noble initiative. So Lala, the ball is yours now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and my apologies for getting here late. We would like to first thank OSPG for the amazing work that they've been doing since we became partners. And on behalf of NDI, we are very pleased to have supported the launching of this newsletter, the bulletin, and will continue providing our technical assistance to the Open Society platform to ensure that they continue with their initiatives that seek to promote the consolidation of our democracy in the Gambia by enhancing measures to make sure that there is the promotion of accountability and transparency in our governance processes. This comes at a very timely time, at a very timely period in the consolidation of our nation's democracy. And as a part of our initiatives, the projects that we've been embarking on in partnership with the OSPG since last year is to improve the Gambia's eligibility threshold to be a partner or a member of the Open Government Partnership, which is a global network that nations all over the world are members of, and Gambia is the only Anglophone-speaking country, West African country, that is yet to be a member of this global initiative. So all our partnership with the initiatives that we've embarked on in partnership with the OSPG over the months has been to improve the Gambia standing at this global platform, to ensure we meet the ratings when we are rated this year, to ensure that we meet the ratings. The passing of the Access to Information Law gets us a step closer, but however, there is a need to continue putting in collective efforts to ensure that there is a promotion of accountability, there's a promotion of fiscal transparency, there's a promotion of citizens' participation in very critical processes like budget formulation, budget implementation, all of these things which will take us as a people and as a country a step closer in having an open governance system and ensuring that people have a say, they participate, they know what's going on with their government, they have a way of holding their leaders accountable, they have a way of participating in governance in general in very transparent manners. So as NDI, we are very pleased to be working not just with OSPG but with other partners to participate or to support the Gambia's transition into a more progressive democracy. And we would like to congratulate them on this initiative. And we'll be here to continue pledging our support, not just to OSPG, but to other partners that are also looking into the same direction. So congratulations once again. And I would like to hand over the mic to MS.
Tango, who I can say is the chief civil society leader in this country, and apart from being that, is a strong feminist, an activist, an advocate for women and children in this country. On my far right left, I have my two key partners. The others where are absent. I recognize the presence of Mr. Juma Kamara from Ombudsman, They are working with us behind the scene to help in order to see that Gambia gets the remaining 2 points, so that we can be qualified, like Lala said. Mr. Anyang from the Ministry of Information, we please carry our thanks to the minister, and then the enactment of the access to information bill has boosted Gambia's position, moving from 6 points to 10 points now, and then that is a huge move of what we are trying to do. Then we are just 2 points away from, as Lala said, to be qualified to become a member of an open government partnership. Beside that, as I said, I also recognize the presence of all the colleagues here, especially the journalists. This is it become a tradition now, I will say, because it's less than 2 months that we had another program here briefing on issues that we are doing. And then this is all around to see that how we can amplify and increase the feasibility of this project. The project is all towards to ensure that Gambia is part of the elite club of the world, whereby it's the only country in the Anglophone Africa, West Africa, that is not a member of that club. Then we found that that is a prerequisite, and then it's imperative also to see that Gambia is also part of that. Then giving all those, recognizing all those stuff. And then I will say that I'm going to start with expressing my deepest gratitude to our partners, especially the media, especially the editors, who give space to these publications that we can review and create a database that people can reference in order to make their advocacies and other stuff like that. Then this is a great transformative agenda that demonstrates the publication of accountability and transparency issues that matters to the development of our beloved Gambia. Secondly, as I said, I want to recognize the fact that beside all these things, you have 2 gentlemen, that is by the name of MS Ba, and Yusuf Taylor with his business career with a young daughter or so. They stayed over a 2 weeks period to review almost very close to 60 to 70 newsletters on and offline to take in some of these data so that we can have this document also. MS and then Yusuf, thanks a lot. And then I apologize to the Yusuf wife and the daughter for them to stay overnight and then to do this work for us. And I also recognize the presence of the other civil society organizations that are with us here. I would want to say this thing. CSOs are very important institutions for advocating and strengthening transparency and openness and integrity in a country. And then Gambia is no exception to that. As I said, Tango, under the leadership of Tango, there are different thematic areas that they are coordinating to see that there is a synergy and coherency, and then so that the investments and the resources are directed as well. Thank you, Madam, for taking that leadership and giving a focus and direction to the civil societies in this country. Then it's all around how do we create and then to raise awareness. For this particular subject, it's all around how do we fight corruption. You cannot fight corruption while you don't enhance transparency, accountability, and integrity. Then this all is around that area. How do we enhance public awareness against the subject of fighting corruption, as well as enhancing transparency in turn to create a responsive state of that respond to the needs of the citizens. Having said that, I will say that this is a great pleasure for me to be part of a revolutionary event that bring together the launching of this particular news bulletin. And then I will say, MS, I don't know, but you are in the media, whether this is the first of its kind. But if it is the first of its kind, we say congratulations to NDI, and then to Tango, and then anybody who is behind the leadership, but thinking that way that we should have a way to get a database to communicate some of this information, and then so that we can reference them at any given time. I would want to say this thing again. This initiative aim to increase awareness as well as mobilize large constituency of the population. Because, MS, thank you. I'm observing that we having callers across the country now in your radio program. I've seen a caller from Jarasoma, from Farafenye. The farthest was Udang or Dankunko. And then this is telling us that people are aware of the message about corruption and corrupt-related issues. And then it's all around how do we fight corruption. Sadly, this country, corruption become an endemic issue now. It's part of us. It's taken into the social fabric of our society. For example, just yesterday, Transparency International released the annual transparency corruption index or so. Gambia remained to be on the same spot, 102. We moved from 96, from 2019, 2020, from 2019, 96 points. 2020, we were at 102. Last year, 2021, we are at the same point. This means that with all the investment, nothing had happened. That is too sad and it's too bad. We have nothing to explain to our children why that happened. Because it's better to invest that money somewhere rather than to invest around to see that people are aware of corruption. Then, not only that, this is exacerbated by the fact that Gambia doesn't have any legal instrument, specific legal instrument. They are there, but they are embedded in other laws. But there is an anti-corruption bill sitting at the National Assembly since December 2019. This last December was 2 years. The bill was there. It cannot be enacted. Why? Well, it is because of the political class, and it's the same political classes, and then the civil service, and I say, well, anybody in the society that are conniving now to rob Gambian people. For instance, $148 million has been missing at Ministry of Health. Yeah? That is not me. It's this Auditor General who reported it. Gam Petroleum, $30 million. You go to Central Bank just yesterday, there was a newspaper publication, $4 million. You have the GTA board scandal. Then the thing is just board left and right, center and front, back. Everybody is doing it. Then there should be a way in order to address this. Then in that case, I will call on the government to take a decisive step how to fight corruption, because corruption is a threat to national security and peace. And then corruption seems to be a public enemy number one in this country. It's a public enemy number one, because it's robbing the citizens of the resources that should be invested into our hospital to help our mothers and our sisters and our wives not to die on that giving birth on that bed. You go to school still now, you find children sitting on the ground. Youths are unemployed without no job. That's why they take that dangerous route to get themselves to South Europe, to get to mainland Europe. Then the government should act now. We are sitting on a time bomb, please. I'm telling you, 148 million, $200 million, $30 million. If anyone with a mathematics calculator, if you calculate that, that is running over $500 million. It's going to $1 billion. Just in January, that has been uncovered by the journalists and other citizens and any other person who were working on this subject. $1 billion in a month. Then in 12 months, $12 billion can be uncovered. It's a dangerous time. Government should act now, not later. Okay, thanks a lot. Fighting corruption should begin, as I said, increasing awareness on the subject, as we are doing. Please publish this thing. Let government aware it. Let the citizens of this country be aware of it. There are millions of dollars that has been stolen from us. If they steal, they are stealing from you. They are not stealing from Lala or Madam Bangre or Yusuf Taylor or Spa. They are stealing from the Gambian. Then we should educate the Gambian people. The publication, as I said, is an aggregated data that is organized, is available at our level at any part, because these are there. You can give it as a reference. And then in order to see that, we have an advocacy tool about to help to see that we fight corruption in this country also. As Lala said, this is not only timely, but it's also strategic step towards creating a future open society that empower and then the citizen to address the ill of corruption in order to create wealth in this country. Because if the money is not stolen by myself and any other person, then that $48 million is going to be invested somewhere else. That is going to help the citizens of this country. And it's going to create employment for them, and then they will have money in their pocket, and then they can take care of their families, and then we can reduce poverty in this country. But people are taking it. Then we need to educate them. Let this message go out. Please, we have about 5 cameras here now. Please, let's publish this thing. Yeah? Okay, as I said, this initiative Lala said here is part of the initiative of a broader, larger initiative of our program. That is Gambia to be qualified to become a member of Open Government Partnership. It's an elite organization of governments, about 78 of them, I believe. Gambia wants to be struggling with other countries to become the 79th country or so, so that we can enlist. But one thing proudly we want to do is that Gambia is the only Anglophone country in West Africa that is not part of this club. Institutions, they are our strong partners, definitely. National Audit is our strong partner. Ministry of Finance is our strong partner. And then scores of them, not for civil society also, but for media, and then definitely you are our darling, because whenever we call, you are there. I recognize you, and then we appreciate your partnership. And then on that note, I will say that officially launch this accountability and transparency news bulletin from today, 28th of January, 2022. Thank you all. Thanks for your attention.
Wow. Thank you so much for the statement, Mr. Jadama. You pointed a very important aspect, which is corruption. I think it has been deepening its heels in this country, and which is a call for concern. I also believe that we will continue to engage the institutions like the National Assembly and other institutions like the police to also take charge and ensure that those found wanting are brought to book. Not also losing the sight of the anti-corruption bill. I think it is high time, because most of our engagement, Flex can be on the witness, that people will say, yeah, the access to information is very important, but I believe the anti-corruption bill should be enacted as well. So people are requesting for this bill, and why the National Assembly is not bringing this bill. We've seen severally, they've brought it before, on their agenda, but unfortunately, it was not it was not deliberated. Like the matter didn't come to the committee of the whole House to discuss on the issue. So I believe the National Assembly, it's important that the National Assembly to consider that the anti-corruption bill should come so that Gambia, the corruption can be a thing of the past. We know that we cannot eradicate corruption 100%, because even developed nations, you can have an iota of corruption in their system, but those are probably minor corruptions. But people believe that now Gambia, there is a systematic corruption, like the system itself. Corruption is deeply seen in our systems, in our institutions, and nothing is done, in that regard. So people believe that corruption is normalized, like it's a normal thing. You bribe, even bribery is. People should not even bribe people. So I believe it is important. So we will take just a few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 clarifications, questions before we close this thing, because we are not taking time. We don't want, these are busy people. Lala and others, our auntie. So just one or two questions, and then we close the chapter. Any question, please? Any remark, anything?